Alright, one of the dead games out there is actually kind of not based on gaming at all, but it's still a game, if obscure. Their heyday was from like 1989 till 1996. You could call them a metal band, but they were really a fantasy sci-fi experience with a lot of crazy shit thrown in. I'm not going to explain GWAR, but GWAR has a game. And this is the miniature games for GWAR. It is a paperback. How these came about is they were in a starter set. And in the starter set you got, I think, the 5 main characters and a pack of slaves. Yes, they have slaves in this, so fucking A. They're GWAR. I mean, if you know anything about GWAR, GWAR keeps slaves. In any case, it is a D6 based game. It's a skirmish war game. It's not a big war game, even though they have some parts where they can kind of talk about making it bigger. It's not. It's a skirmish game. You're designed to have a small squad and fight each other. When it comes to GWAR, the reason this game didn't take off is, one, GWAR was not as popular as GWAR thought they were, but they still had some cool ideas, and so they made this game. Another thing is that at the same time that GWAR released this game through Demonblade Games, this wasn't released by Slave Pit Studios. It's a Demonblade Games product that they've had creative process in from Slave Pit Studios. GWAR comes from Slave Pit Studios. Demonblade Games made cheesy games and didn't last too long. But in any case, the deal is that this game, it came out the same time that another titan in gaming, one that's very well remembered. I'll do a video on them next. But that other game came out, and any chance that GWAR had of being successful got washed away when that happened. But anyway, inside the book, you have 3 different sections. There's a lore section, which is, honestly, GWAR's best lore is found through like their own publications. They release like comic books and magazines, but they kind of have things like this. It has the same kind of, the system is very much a system where you roll. I believe it's I go, you go. It may actually be turn-based activation. I didn't memorize that, but I know one thing for sure. In the GWAR game, your attack roll and your damage roll is the same dang thing. You just try to beat the enemy's defense roll, and by how many you beat the opponent's defense roll, it does that much damage to the enemy. Usually one's good enough, and then it goes from there. So in the GWAR game, you have a section where you get to create your own guys. Literally, from like the characters, you give them flaws and advantages. You give you can make, of course, mooks. They call them, I think they call them goons in this one, but whatever. They have, you could just make all kinds of shit and then put them on a battlefield together. It's very much, nowadays, after the game has died, this is actually a pretty cool game if you like converting weird-looking crap and throwing at each other in like a post-apocalyptic or like dark science fiction setting. But the funny thing is that even though you can do that, they have some like templates here in the back, and if you know about GWAR's lore, they don't fit in. Like, here's an example of make your own character. And here's the chart. This is actually relatively easy to find online. Heck, I might as well find a way to post it if I can. But yeah, and then of course they have each of the main characters in there. Odoros Arungus, the lead singer and leader of the GWAR band. They put Slymanstra Pihyman second. I think that was because she was the girlfriend of the lead singer at the time. It's funny, that's like the drummer guy. No, that's the rhythm guitarist. Here's your lead guitarist. There's your drummer. There's your bass guitarist. They have all the different characters are here. But yeah, you can even have monster characters as well. And of course, other random shit. Here's the funny thing is that they introduced like a pack of slaves. They can customize their slaves to match the character you're bringing in. But in any case, Demonblade Games made other cheesy games. They try to integrate them into the GWAR game. It's the part I find the most cringiest of this entire book. And yeah, it's GWAR. GWAR is not nice. GWAR is shock art meets like, fantasy metal. It's weird shit. But they have like rednecks, Native Americans. They call them Indians. They're not exactly being proper here. And they have National Guard. It's kind of sad because they could have done like soldiers and like based them off of like World War II Germans, because they do figure in a lot of GWAR's lore. And then they could have done like just fantasy warriors, because having various generic fantasy warrior or historical medieval warriors do figure into the lore. And they could have actually had a section for like mutants and weird stuff as well. I guess their idea was you could make your own mutants better. But they wanted, the Demonblade Games guys wanted to show off their miniatures line and try to tie them into the GWAR game. Whatever, guys. And in the end, it made the game, the game isn't as cool as it could have been. It's not as GWAR as it could have been, but it's pretty close to it. They have police. I think it's funny they have police stacked with no images because they need so many different kinds of police. And they have penguins in here. Penguins do figure in, but I don't know why they're stuck with the National Guard. They could have, I don't know, stuck them with a mutant section if they wanted to make mutants. Oh well. And that's the end of the book pretty much. It is a easy to find paperback. Go on eBay or Amazon or something. People sell it between like $14 and $20-ish. I'd recommend going for as cheap as possible if you really want one. People have made copies of them for free online. If you can do that, then don't worry about paying for it. You can just grab the rules and just go to town. Like I say, the game is cool, fun for people who are into conversions. It's not like an in-depth hobby you can invest in. That's a big difference. A lot of games nowadays try for the heavy investment hobbies. This comes from a more casual day of gaming. So I do have something weird that I don't have for a lot of other games I have. I have miniatures for this. Mostly because they're collectible as all hell. I mean, if you have the GWAR miniatures, you've got, I could probably sell each GWAR miniature I have for $50. I mean, they're painted. I could probably go for higher than that. But still. I have the other version. This is the Odorous Orungus. I have him. This is the custom version that has the giant dong, which is actually supposed to be an alien parasite, but it's his dong. Who's kidding who, right? So this is the lead singer. We have this guy. And then next in line, in my opinion, should always be the lead guitarist. And here is Balzac, Jaws of Death. This is the first miniature I've ever gotten for GWAR. I got this back when the game came out. The rest I bought along the way, after the game died. But Balzac was my favorite character. He's just got a cool character design. He's like a satyr guy, but his head is like a bear pit, and he's got like eyes poking out the bottom of it. He's freaking cool. And this version, he has a huge beard as well as his huge hair, which is funny because I think he does have a beard in all his versions. I'm not sure. But there's Balzac, the Jaws of Death. Your bass guitarist, Beefcake the Mighty. Kind of like this Roman gladiator looking guy that is supposed to be the sensitive, humorous guy of the group. And he's actually, the guy who plays this guy in the band is actually the present leader of GWAR. The lead singer of GWAR died in like 2014 or 2015. And they had to have someone take over. This guy created a new character, and this character was passed on to someone else. So, weird as it goes. And then, the drummer, they used to have an old joke that they went through drummers, whatever. But this is the drummer that's been with them the longest, and the one we have in the game. This is Mack the Gusher. He's a feral guy who likes beating shit up. I painted this one rather recently because I bought him and didn't have him paint him for a while. I actually have a bunch of the slave miniatures that aren't painted up either, but oh well. One I think is kind of funny, also another dead guy we have. The rhythm guitarist Corey Smoot died in 2008, was it? It was back there. But when that happened, I picked up this miniature and I painted it and had it next to, do I have the mark on there? No, I don't. But this guy, I used to mark the bottom of my miniatures. But this guy, they retired his character too and made a new character that served after Corey Smoot died. And of course, that never came with the game. This game was what? The year is 1999, we can say, for the game. Was when the game tried to issue. So this is also a wrong miniature. The guy's correct, but honestly, he needs to be converted so he's carrying like a two-handed sword. Because that's what this guy, they almost all carried swords. One guy carried a halberd, one guy carried a hammer, one guy carried an axe, but everybody really had swords. And they gave him 2 spears in the game for, I guess, diversity's sake. Whatever. But anyway, there's that guy. And of course, my favorite villain, if you have the original Hello album they cut, this is Techno Destructo. He's my favorite villain. He's just a crazy guy that's always trying to take over the band from the inside or the outside. His song is actually one of the highlights from that Hello album they made. But he's my choice of villain. My idea is to have all the characters on one side, have him on the other, pack him up with behind a bunch of slaves, and fight that way. That's kind of how it's supposed to go. GWAR as a band versus whatever the fuck you throw out there. Like, they have things like the cops or like penguins or giant maggots. But for the most part, this is GWAR, the miniature game. It's way dead. It's relatively easy to pick up, and you probably will not find these miniatures. These miniatures go for a premium whenever I found them. The last of these I bought at collector's prices back in like 2010. And that was like $20 or so to getting in miniatures or so. I got a few of them for cheaper than that. But now, every time I see these guys going up there, it's 30, 40, 50, and that's for the unpainted stuff. I don't think anybody who has them painted would want to sell them. I'm going to keep these guys. In fact, Reaper Miniatures makes a metal penguin that I might buy just so I can throw penguins in there as well. Because it'd be really fun to have penguins in GWAR. But anyway, yeah, this is GWAR, the miniatures game. And hopefully, if you like the GWAR's miniature game, or you're just an old fan of GWAR, and you're like, they made a game. Actually, they tried to make 2 games. They made like a video game based on like, I think it was off the Quake engine. They tried to make a Quake-based video game, and then they made the miniatures game we have here. GWAR actually has had a history of gaming. The band members, like especially the original lead singer, the original rhythm guitarist, and Hunter Jackson, all actually played D&D and role-playing games and stuff like that. So, and they no longer have the information online. They used to have like their own private notes as what they played online. I checked again recently; it's gone. So you can no longer look at that stuff. But they had some weird shit they would do. It was very like Hell versus Mutants based combat and Evil Quest kind of stuff. But yeah, have fun converting your own stuff. Have fun playing it. You can find a book. I'm willing to bet there's free resources online too. But yeah, it should be, for those of you who like crazy fun games from the 90s, this should fit in the collection quite well.